all look like that somehow. Water intakes. You're almost always going to be using the city water connection for the, because all the campgrounds have like city water hose connections. It's their system. This is the fresh water connection is if you were going to like pour in water and take it with you. If you had a non-standard, like hose connection.
Yeah. If you're not at a campsite that has water, then you'll want to fill your tanks before you get there.
Okay.
Otherwise, if it has water, sewer, electric, you'll hook up at the campsite and to the city water.
Yep. Then you'll have drainage for your sewer lines. I'll show you the rest of this in a second. But the thing to come away with this from is there's going to be two what do they call it, levers on the sewer dump tank. There's going to be a gray one and a black one. The gray one is always going to be the tank that holds your water from the showers, from the sinks. Your black one is going to be a lot less pleasant.
Yeah.
So what you generally do is keep the black one closed just to contain that way.
You keep them both closed.
Yeah, well, keep them both closed. You can leave the gray one open if you're staying for a long time somewhere, but they're not going to be really doing that. So, but the bottom line is you want to be using gray water closed at least 24 hours before you have to empty the tank, because when you finally flush that black tank, you're going to want to use gray water to flush the hose, or your hose is going to be full of
unpleasantness.
Yeah. There's also going to be less important, but there's also going to be some low point drains just on the tanks. If you're going to be traveling a long distance, you don't want water sloshing around in the tanks. You can drain it the old-fashioned way through here and there, but anything that's like left in the holding tanks, you can empty out just by unscrewing these and letting it run out. A lot of times what they actually have you do is just unscrew those before you leave the campsite and let the water slowly run out on the road. That's why a lot of these things, if you're behind them and you see water coming out, that's why.
So what's the difference between red and blue?
Hot water, cold water.
Okay.
This comes from the hot water tank. This comes from the cold
fresh water tank.
Fresh water. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh, relief from the sun. Power. Going to be the power posts that you connect to are going to have 20/30 watt connectors, and then 50s.
50s are the big rigs.
50s are going to be for non-trees. It's a different plug type anyway, so just plug that in. Stabilizer jacks are to be used not to actually lift the thing up. You crank them down until they kind of press against the ground.
It's just to keep the trailer
from shaking while you're inside.
Okay.
But they're not meant to hold up the entire weight of the trailer. You don't want to take the weight off the tires, because the tire axle can actually hold up the weight. So you wouldn't want to be up on like all four of these and no tires. And then finally.
But is that what I'm using for leveling?
No.
Okay, we'll get into that then.
Well, yeah, I'm going to walk through the whole setup process. And then finally, fun. That is in fact, your sewer hose. So they just store in the bumper there, and they come out and connect to the sewer line.
Okay.
So, walking you through the setup. You arrive at the...
Oh, now wait a minute. What's the difference between this hose and that?
Nothing. That connects. That's what connects to this. This is going to go into the... I got a long one.
Oh, okay. That's just where you store it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's just hose storage. All right. So that's the basic tutorial. Now we're going on. Thing you're going to want to do when you pull into the campsite, and there's two types of sites. There's pull through and back in. I try to get pull throughs whenever I can, even with something this small, which is about the size of what you're going to be pulling. It's a lot easier to pull in and stop than to have to try and figure out how to hell to back something in, but you know, a couple of times you get awfully used to it. So it doesn't much matter. But... Step one, you get to your old campsite. The very, very first thing you're going to do before you unhook your rig, before you do anything else, is level out the camper. And if you step inside, you may think, this is kind of level. Level it anyway. The water system's inside, and some of the other equipment is based on being perfectly level. We learned with this one because the air conditioner's on the side instead of the top. If we're not perfectly level,
it's tilted, it drains inside.
Yeah.
The condensation.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but if we're level, we don't have that problem.
No.
Yours is most likely going to be on the
roof.
So, because it's kind of a weird design we have.
Yeah.
So, but the very first thing you're going to want to do is level the rig, left and right first. So basically you'll want to get the wheels right. This is our easy level. And right now, because I didn't bother to level it before we parked it, it's way off. So yeah, right there, I'd have to come up on that side. This thing basically, if it's blinking, the side that's blinking is the lower side. So I'm off right now by about that much. So what I would do, again, you level it on the tires for left and right first because you're still attached to the car. Front to back, you can always level yourself out with the jack.
Right.
So it's the right to left is the most important part.
This is a Camco easy level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how you do that is with these. Easy levelers. Or there's two ways to do it. You take one of these and you get under the tire. Yeah. Well, before you chock it, you put it under your tire and then you just drive up on it. Pull the truck forward a couple inches and call it a day.
Okay.
The whole weight of the thing can sit on this plastic. Or if you need to get it up even more, you can put them up a little bit. This is the most standard thing you see on all of the campers. Probably hundreds of these things in the campground.
So just drive it up on top of it. How do you know that you've got enough just by one?
You get pretty, after one or two tries, you get pretty good at knowing how much you need to do. And again, if you have that level, you take your hand and just go kind of get like this, you're like, okay, I need about an inch. There you go.
Okay. So it's not that sensitive between like quarter of an inch or something like that.
No, again, when it's level, you'll see it. The other option is, and this works with a single axle. I haven't actually used this yet, but there are also these. So this one's kind of cool too, because this one you just jam it under the tire and then you drive up onto it.
Right.
And then you chop. Then once you're on it and you get you're up the level you want to be, you chock the other side.
Oh.
I found it easier to use the plastic squares, but
Because you can stack them like Legos. You can lay two down, one on top of the middle of those
well,
two.
you can use them for that. You can use them for under the stabilizer jacks, and you can use them for under the truck jack.
Yeah.
Is there any time there's a miracle that you're absolutely flush just by drawing?
Yes.
Okay.
Weirdly so. Where were we at? Williamsport?
Luray.
Luray, where we pulled in, and we were flush.
Williamsport too.
We were flush on both sides. All we had to do was raise and lower the front.
Yeah.
So then, once you're stabilized on that, then you just raise and lower the front. And usually how this works is
First
I had Nicole
you would have to raise it up and move your vehicle. You would chalk your tires and then do the leveling.
Well,
this way.
no. Okay.
No?
So hold on.
I'm doing this to confuse you.
No. Yeah. First things first, you make sure the trailer's level, right and left.
Right and left.
Right and left level, because you're still going to be attached to the vehicle at that point because you had to pull the vehicle up and back to do it. Then, once you're sure you're level, you chalk your tires.
Right.
Okay?
Level right to left.
level right and left, then you chalk your tires, and even if you're up on a couple of those, I found you can jam the chalks right in there just fine. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Do I have to hammer it in or just kind of push?
I just jam them.
Jam them with your foot.
I got plastic ones and heavy rubber ones, and I found they can just get them right in there. Because what generally happens is once you do lower the camper and it settles in, it'll kind of lock itself, whichever way is downhill, it'll kind of lock itself into.
There's a flat end and a curved end. So you want the curved end to go on the curve of the tire and the flat to go flat on the ground.
It depends on the chocks.
No, both of the chocks are the same.
Oh, yeah.
They're the same kind of design with a curve and a flat.
Yeah.
Even that has a flat and a curve.
Yeah, so it doesn't, just check the instructions for whatever chocks you got. So once your tires are chalked, then you raise it up off your tow hitch. Standard tow equipment, you're going to have that lock in with the little pin that goes right here to hold it in place. So pull the pin, undo that, crank it up till it's off the hitch, pull your truck out of the way, and then what we do is I have Nicole stand right there where the level is and just start cranking it whichever way I need to crank it, up or down.
Until it's solid green.
Yeah, usually I keep a couple of these under the tongue, because this is, you can raise it up the same way that you raise up the tires. If this is like a real steep hill down, then you're going to want it more to jack up onto. But then, that's like the hardest part of the whole job, I think, is getting it level, and we can do it really quick now. And that's after, 6 or 7 times?
Yeah.
All right, so once you're level, then you are set to lower your stabilizer jacks. And there's 2 ways you can do it. Most of them come with a crank. A lot of time people will actually buy a connector with this size bolt for their wireless drill, and just. I found it's not that difficult. These things move super easy, especially new ones that have been well lubricated.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah, it takes me 30 seconds to do it. Again, just crank it down till
it touches.
Yeah, you'll feel when the weight kind of comes onto it.
Right.
And again, I put these down. You could just go down on the ground on the bottom of the jacks, but I found that distributing that space makes me feel better about sticking it down onto things, especially if there's mud and stuff. All right, so there you have your camper level. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to hook up the water line. You look like you're thinking, Nikki.
I was just making sure I hadn't missed anything that he needed so far.
No. So, water lines, you have to make sure, number one, that the hose, a lot of these easy folding hoses are not safe for drinking use. They deteriorate out in the sun. They got chemicals in them and stuff. You will see the container at the Home Depot or what. They'll have here's really easy shrinking hoses, and what they found is they're really not safe for drinking water. This one, my 0G hose, is, but at the same time, they'll probably provide you just like a standard plasticized, rubberized, water hose. And water filter, the actual important part of this, because some of that drinking water can be a little weird. Not that we drink a lot of water out of the camper.
Yeah.
We tend to drink a lot of bottled water, but even if you're taking showers and washing hands and stuff.
I've drank out of KOAs before. I understand.
Taste pure water filters. So, yeah. Hook this up to the hose line coming out of the, usually they have the hose and the power post pretty close together. So, hook into the water filter whichever way they tell you the flow is supposed to go. Hook that into their water line so it all comes through filtered, and then hook to the camper. Now we hook to the camper. We have a an L.
Gave you guys one of those.
Yes.
Yes. So, and that's just a matter of coming in and screwing into the water line.
Oh, I fully see why you need that right angle now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want any pressure. Now ours there's an extra You know what? I can't do this left-handed. Isn't that weird? Here we go. Exit all the way in. Not only for us because it keeps the pressure off the hose coming out this way, but this one is because our camper, because they decided to put the water heater with the ventilation unit right here, I actually kick it over this way or this way depending on where the water's coming out. Usually it's over here so that I avoid the heat coming out of this thing. It's a bad design on this particular unit. Something I would look out for in the future. All right, so once your water's hooked in and turn on the water, that way water can start filling up the tanks because you don't want the water heater and the other appliances starting up without having water actually in the system. So while the water's cooking in here, while the water's filling up in the system, you can go ahead and connect the sewer line. Or, I'm sorry, I'm one step wrong.
The electric.
Yeah, water and electric. So for the electric, we have an extension cable because what we found is no matter how much you can pull out of here, sometimes the power poles are in weird positions in the campsites. So, you know, an extra, how many feet is this, you think?
An extra 15?
Extra 15? Yeah, that looks like 15. Extra 15 feet worth of hose, or worth of and then a surge protector. Now, since they want to protect their units, I'm kind of assuming that they may actually hook you up with the stuff because the last thing they want is their power supplies to get fried by a...
You may call them and see like what extras they're giving you.
I certainly think I will ask them about what are they providing me.
Yeah. So again, this goes in the power post. This just hooks into the, the connection.
And then we took the wires underneath and the extra water hose. Once the water hose is filled up, just kind of tuck it.
Yeah, kind of underneath the camper, so it's not exposed. So the minimum amount of this wiring is exposed to the elements. Again, it doesn't make too much of a difference. It's all rated for outdoor use, but we figure why let it sit in the rain when it can sit dryly under the unit.
Valid point.
All right, next part. It's the fun part. So I'm actually going to wear these because I want to show you the connectors. Rubber gloves when dealing with your sewer lines. It's just, yeah. They're sewer lines.
And this is the Camkin side.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different varieties of these. I thought at first this was stupid, I wouldn't need it, I was wrong. So, this device is just for your sewer hose to fit on to get it to wherever the sewer line empties out at. And this little gem. So most of the sewer lines at the campsites have a screw-in adapter on top of their sewer drain. So it can just this goes down on top, just screws right into it. I still use this even if it doesn't, because this is the connection with my L joint. Yeah, right there. So this is going to hook to the camper, and these clamps are all the same. They're all just pop it, connect. You're not even going to snap it on all the way. Snap it on. Maybe I need to.
Maybe you want to.
Yeah.
There we go. Run my sewer line down to wherever the drain is, where I've connected this guy, where I've already connected this guy, and then just come on. There we go. I was trying to twist it. I hadn't actually twisted it on there. So then the L joint here gives us a way to see that there's actually stuff flowing in there. So when we drain it and it's going down into the sewer, and you want this line to try and be straight, but I've got so much line here, that's the problem. because you want to keep it elevated because science. So it comes down and drains into here. You can kind of see it flowing in, so you know when it's actually done and when it's not. So again, if I were setting up the first time, I'm not too worried about that until I'm ready to break it all down. So we'll come back to that, to break it all down.
But that's setup. Oh no, that's not all
yet.
of it.
Not yet.
We haven't done the inside.
So, grab that. That's the whole reason I came over
What
here.
is that? Happy camper.
Yep. So then, we come around and go inside. There's water going in. Oh, nope, I forgot to stop. I forgot one last thing. This is the point that you open the gas valve.
Okay. Gas valve open.
Yeah. Let me come in. I probably should open some windows in here. It's gonna be a little warm. Ah, God. What am I doing? Why did I mess with the blinds I know are funky? One second. There it is. I'm trying to do this without actually opening the blinds, and I'm failing miserably.
Oh, because you have to pull it out.
Ow.
You have to push that to the left. Do I need to do it?
This is one of those things I don't normally do. There we go. So no, I pull that right. And then
It like pulls out, and then you push,
oh,
but put the screen back.
yeah. Oh, I know, but that feels good, doesn't it? Airflow.
Okay.
All right. At this point, you should have enough water in your tank that the hot water tank should be filling up. You can test that by coming in and, hit the cold water. Cold water should come out at this point no matter what. There should be enough water in the tank. Make sure your hot water tank is now filled up by starting the hot water. When hot water comes out of that valve,
You forgot to turn the hot water on.
no, I didn't, because you want to make sure there's water in the hot water tank first.
Oh.
So by
Okay, never mind.
turning on the hot water, you make sure there's hot water actually in the hot water tank. Then shut that off.
It's not hot water, but the hot water tank is full.
There's water coming out of the hot water tank, correct. Then, once you're sure there's hot water in the hot water tank and the gas is on, you hit the water heater button. You should hear the pilot light going. Sometimes it takes a minute or three depending on the system, but you hit that there. But this console is pretty much the same in all of them. It's also where you will find, you can hit that to see what let's see, our freshwater tank is low. Our black water tank is 1/3 full. That's lying because it's empty. Our gray water tank is, there we go, 2/3 full. Again, it's lying. These tank sensors are shaky as all get out. But we can tell our battery's working. That's also not true. All right. Individual.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you have some water, put your water in the sink. You take we like the brand of the Happy Campers odor-free tank treatment. And what you don't want to do is dump it all. It's just a scoop of this stuff. And you don't want, every time you refill your water tanks, you want to use it. You don't want to dump it in because it gets it crusts and turns into little pebbles. So it's a matter of putting it like a little, enough. I generally just get the sink, an eighth, a quarter of the way full, and just spread it around slowly like a little powder, like cocaine, because it's just
shake it lightly.
Yeah, let's see, like that, as opposed to dumping it all at once. Otherwise, it crystallizes and you get big clumps and doesn't do anything, doesn't make it down to your tank.
So you wanted to go in slow.
Yeah. So by doing that in this sink, in your main sink, it will end up in the gray water tank. Then you want to do the same water treatment for the black water tank. And again, the only way to get to the black water tank is our friend the toilet. So normally these are all foot pedal toilets. When you push it down a little bit, it squirts water in like a psh, and you can fill it up. It also pays to do that before large movements, so to speak, so that you have enough coverage in there.
So you're gonna have it somewhat full before you end up
Yeah,
using it.
yeah. Well, make sure you got enough to cover a tube. You know what I'm saying? So, but you do the same thing. You sprinkle the liquid down in, and then just flush it all down. And that way your black water tank is treated too. That helps keep the smell down and breaks down all the material. While I'm in the bathroom, I will let you know that every one of these campers has ventilation fan built into the bathroom. So, that's good. Yeah, light system's off because we got no power right now. You know, again, water system stuff that you need to know in here. There's not much because there is no water cutoffs or anything. The water cutoffs are turn off the water outside.
So lightly push on the pedal for water, and then
this is
full
lightly,
push to...
and then this.
Full push to flush.
Yeah, you can actually see it right now. See my black water tank? Here's a. It just opens up and it all goes down. Your refrigerator, similarly in here, your refrigerator is probably going to have a switch between gas and
Electric.
electric. If you're going to be driving, you want to keep the refrigerator cold, make sure to switch it back to electric. But that's going to use your battery power, and your battery is going to be charged by your car as you drive. So you're going to want to make sure you switch that back to gas when you get wherever you're going. Or no, I've got that backwards. Sorry. If you're driving, you want it gas powered.
But you want to make sure to keep your gas tank open then.
Yeah. So.
But put it on electric while you're plugged in. That way you're on electric power and not using your battery or your propane.
Okay, we were actually wondering how is the refrigerator going to work?
Yeah. You can
Whether it was just going to be a cold box, or is it actually...
Nope, you switch it over to gas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that burns through your propane. So, although you're not going to be using the propane for heating much.
And since you're only going to be driving 8 hours or less at a time, I think she said.
I'm trying to keep it at 8, yeah.
Yeah, then that, you can refill your propane at the next stop. And
Yeah, it should stay. If this thing stays closed, and there's going to be a latch on here. I've actually disabled mine because it kept getting stuck, and I got pissed off at it. So.
Probably want to get a propane gauge then.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm never worried about it because all these campsites have propane I can refill, and since you only use the propane to heat the water and heat the building and cook, so standard propane stove. I don't know if yours is going to have a convection microwave or just a standard microwave, and then your air conditioner unit is probably not going to be the side-mounted ridiculousness that I have going on here, but again, only runs that off of electric.
I spelled gauge wrong.
That's okay. So,
There we go.
all right. So, what else do we need to cover inside? Because since we've set up the propane, we've done the.
All right, we'll start here in the kitchen. You're probably going to take dishes and stuff from home and not buy specific dishes.
Right.
So we have, let me see. We have dishes and bowls, plates and bowls, stuff we can put in the microwave because our dishes are not microwavable. So these are also good for putting in the fridge. Let's see.